All right, it is a snow day from Mile High Pest and Wildlife. MB here on my commute, and I would say, pardon the crack in the windshield. That is something that is just truly normal for Colorado. We all get this, we call the Colorado crack. It happened the other night. With the temperature changes, there was a small little ding in the window, and all of a sudden, the whole window exploded. It happens every time. But it's early May. It's May 5th. And this is when we get our spring surprises. I've lived in different parts of Colorado. I've lived at 10,000 feet, 5,000 feet. And I live in northern Colorado now. And they all have their little bit of a different weather pattern. Northern Colorado has some similarities to Wyoming and can be quite intense. And, central Colorado, Front Range, yeah, definitely can get some snow off the Rockies, but in a different way, where we may get snow in northern Colorado and the Front Range gets zero. And we have just these different days for different parts of Colorado. Southern Colorado may not see any snow. They may get snow. It's quite interesting in what we get. But, beautiful drive. This will probably be the last snowstorm of the season. I say that, and then we'll get like 2 feet of snow. Even if we got 2 feet of snow today, the greatest thing about Colorado is what we end up with is no snow like a day or two from now. We're having our El Nino year. We got some cold air on this pattern, and yep, we're picking up some snow. It's not unusual. When I lived at 10,000 feet, I've seen 3 seasons in one day. I've seen it rain, snow, the sun come out, it'd be 60 degrees, and then 20 minutes later, clouds move in, and it snowed. It's at 10,000 feet plus, the weather, it changes literally by minutes. I know people, different parts of the country go, oh yeah, just wait 5 minutes, wait for this. At altitude, for the folks who know altitude, it can be just, it just can be bonkers. Like, you're looking at it and you're like, how can this weather be moving in? Not doing any roof work today. I saw this weather pattern coming through, which was a godsend in a sense, because I was watching the weather and I scheduled myself to do all groundwork this week, so I'm able to still work through the week, which is great. Able to get up on some jobs that I haven't been able to take care of, some paperwork. That's what today will be. I'll do a couple of jobs indoors, some paperwork. These are the days you tighten the business up, and you're forced to, which is great. And especially this time of season, it's been truly hectic. We've been dealing with squirrels and squirrel kits, and the kits came early for squirrels. So this year they're funny. Squirrels are the kits are 75% grown. I mean, across the board. Good size litters. I've seen litters of 3s and 4s. So full size litters early season. Kits are out foraging with mom right now. Is what they're doing. They're learning how to be adults, and they'll be on their own soon enough. It'll start happening. So we're seeing that happen. Raccoons. Wow. I mean, it's been all over the place. I have seen raccoons now, little guys, a couple weeks ago that were only 3 to 5 days old. And I've seen kits that must be 6 weeks. I mean, their eyes were open, they're moving around, very vocal. It's pretty amazing. I mean, really, really amazing to see the diversity this year. And Colorado, everyone was complaining that we weren't getting enough moisture, and it was a challenge. It had been dry, no doubt. We had this early season, like we thought summer was going to come. We never had winter. And all of a sudden, it's green, it's beautiful. It's what I live for in Colorado. I take the good and the bad. These couple of days are cold, no big deal. Brush it off. Brought the winter jacket back out, winter pants, winter boots. I don't put them away until the end of May, and I still keep them close for June. You never know. I've seen it. I've seen some strangeness. That's the beauty of Colorado. You can see things that you never could possibly see in a lot of places. It's just the altitude. The low end of Colorado is 5,000 feet, and that's in Denver. And then these areas, in northern Colorado are plus 6,000 feet. Southern Colorado still stays pretty high. They call it the Colorado Plateau. If anyone knows that, it goes all the way down to Texas. It's a massive plateau out into Arizona. That's where the altitude starts. So if you've ever driven those routes, you've ever driven the 25 from north to south, you know exactly what I'm talking about, how you forever drive up, and up to get here. The same thing, if you're driving from California, across the 70 out west, you whoa, yeah, big snowfall things happen. Yeah, you'd see coming in from Utah, this big, massive, almost plateau that you have to drive up into, and then the mountains start. So that's the interesting part about Colorado, is that we're actually on a massive plateau. That's my weather report. I didn't think today I'd be like, yeah, let's talk about the weather. Let's talk about the weather in Colorado. I think this cool weather moving in will be good for lots of reasons. For the entomology side, insects, I think this will be good. We haven't had a lot of flowering yet, and in that case, this will help that. We're going to get, we should see some trees flower a little bit more. Trees are asexual, so they can self-flower. That's an important thing. And what you'll get is the insects start running around, grabbing nectar, moving from tree to tree, pollinating the trees. So this is a good cycle right now to get this weather to come in, cool everything off. We had been in the 80s. It had gotten hot super quickly. For the animal side, yeah, that high heat early season, I don't think some of the animals were quite ready for that high heat. And for us to get a little bit of a lower temps, it gives them a little bit of a break. Squirrels are interesting. They can hibernate in two different directions. If they get too hot, they'll hibernate. If they get too cold, they'll hibernate. It's interesting that they can do that. They need to be in a Goldilocks zone. It's a very very interesting animal in that sense. Raccoons, they like to be warm, but they don't want, of course, nothing wants to cook. So, the kits like to be around 100 degrees. So if you see in some of my other videos, if I save raccoon kits, I always have a heating pad. I keep the heating pad in there. I like to keep them warm. They love the little bit of the heat, when they're younger like that. But, same thing for all animals. It gets too hot. If they're nesting in a house, they'll move away from the insulation and start going towards the vents and get a little bit of that cool air. And right now, they'll probably move away from the vents and move a little bit deeper into the insulation. And with that, it'll keep everything a little bit calm, kind of slow stuff down. For me, I've just had so many calls. This temperature change is actually going to even the calls out and make it a lot, instead of having all the calls come in at one time, this will make it so, yeah, there's time to deal with the animals a little bit more. The weather forecast ahead allows it too, so it's going to get a little bit warmer again when it dries, but not horribly warmer. So we're in a good spot. So that's the Colorado weather forecast. That's my day. It's just kind of a I'll show you my windshield with a Colorado crack. Driving down the road, I gotta get out. This crack's getting fixed on Saturday. So sorry that you have to look at the crack, but it's pretty funny that this is what it looks like right now. But yeah, you can see that Colorado's green. You know, we have our green sections. It is a little bit of a high desert, but you know where I'm at. I'm driving into northern Fort Collins right now to do some work, indoor work today, which is great. That's what I planned on. And this is the route. So beautiful town. Love being here. I mean, it's a college town. I'm a little old for the college kids, but I still fit in. There's plenty of people my age, you know, and there's lots of wildlife up here. So it's great for what I do. So hopefully you have a great day, you know, and hopefully you'll have no wildlife challenges, or you can get some wildlife tips from Mile High Pest and Wildlife. We always have something on here that we'll talk about an animal and how you should deal with it. And I always say try to be as humane as possible. Always be as humane as possible. You know, and you know, it's a funny word. People always argue what humane is, but it's always thinking out the problem for the animal, thinking about how coexisting, what it means, and you know, for health reasons, for lots of reasons. You know, if you have rodents in your house, do they chew on your wiring? Can they do damage to your house? And, you know, and that includes squirrels, because they're in that family. And do we coexist, or do we figure out a way to get them out humanely and move them on? You know, same thing for raccoons. You know, they're super cute. I love dealing with the kits. They're a lot of fun right now. But the moms are full grown and they're big out here. You know, I did a raccoon job the other day, and a guy from Florida couldn't believe how he thought he had like a bear underneath his house. And he's like, "Oh, I saw this thing, this huge mammal. I thought it was a bear." And I'm like, "No, it's a raccoon." Florida has a lot more things than Colorado as animals go. You have 10 times the amount of animals, like by number, but we have deer here that are 300 pounds, and you have deer that we think look like dogs. We're like, well, that's about 100 pounds, like little deer. For us, that's not a deer, that's a dog. And so it may sound kind of laughable, but we just have big stuff. Our raccoons can get like 40 pounds here, rip roofs off if they need to. They are super strong. So as much as I love dealing with the kits and they're a lot of fun, I don't ever fight with mama. A 40-pound raccoon is a fight I do not want to have. At over 200 pounds, I don't know if I could win. I mean, seriously. So, but with that, have a great day, and hopefully wherever you're at, the sun is shining, and you're having a beautiful day. Thank you.